Only live webcast that brings you the passion, the power, and the pulse of the mighty One New Zealand Warriors. This is Ruin Hammer Live, the official webcast of Warrior Nation, who is the official Aussie-based Warriors supporters movement. Joining me tonight, as usual, is my co-host and fellow Warriors tragic Warrior Roo. Rob, how you been, mate? No Warriors game last weekend, so we had a bit of a reprieve. It was a bit of a relaxing weekend.
Yeah, it was. It was good just to sort of put the feet up, not have to worry about the Warriors game, and still enjoy and dine out on that performance against the Sharks. So yeah, it was a fairly stress-free weekend, it must be said. Until last night after watching the bloody State of Origin, that was just like watching another Warriors game. That game of two halves, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
We will.
But yeah, how have you been, mate? You had a good week so far?
Yeah, mate, just back at work. As everyone knows, I've been a bit crook last couple of weeks out of COVID and then long COVID and then pneumonia. And now I actually got back to work on Monday this week. So, it's kind of getting back to life as normal. But yeah, mate, just a quiet weekend and looking forward to this weekend where we can watch a bit of footy again.
Well, you'll be watching it live. I'll be getting messages from you live because and once again I've got my eldest Dommy. She's starring in the Shrek Junior the musical, and their first performance is at 3:00 on Saturday.
Wow!
So you'll be keeping me informed along with the live score, and I might even have to duck out in intermission and check out what I missed. But Fano first, as we always say.
AirPods and the iPad and the iPhone, mate. That's what you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mate, no game to talk about this week, but we've got a very special episode tonight. Why don't you bring our guest in and I'll introduce him for all those that are watching. We're joined by a very special guest. He's a massive supporter of the show. He played 94 NRL games at 4 different clubs, 43 of those at our beloved Warriors in 2007 and 2008. He's been on the show before, I think it was about 4 years ago, 8th of June it was, in 2021.
We were very fresh. We were very green when we had you on last time, mate.
We're very fresh. Everyone, please make welcome Warrior 134, Michael Witt. Witty, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining us.
I'm going very well, gents. Very well. Thanks for having me back. I thought after the first one you might have moved on and brushed me. Thought that's not a good idea. So glad to be back on.
No, mate. It's one of those things Rob and I actually talk about wanting to get some of our previous guests back on, and because when we get you on the first time, it's kind of really in depth kind of chat where we go through your career, and 9 times out of 10 we haven't actually met the guys that we're having on. We've had a little bit to do with you a couple of times on the Gold Coast and what have you, and got to know you quite well. So this is going to be, for us, it's kind of pretty cool because we're kind of getting to chat to a guy that we have a really good connection to. So mate, I want to get your thoughts as a proud Queenslander. What did you think of last night's Origin win?
Yeah, I thought it was a really great response to Game 1. I thought they were really poor in Game 1, which is, everybody spoke about. It didn't really seem like an Origin game, did it? Game 1 was just like a really speedy club game.
Yep.
But from my opinion, last night was an Origin game. It looked brutal, physical, and I thought Queensland set the standard with the physicality, and that, I think, got them the win in the end.
Yeah, just I remember reading you were part of an emerging Queensland Origin side at one point in your career, weren't you? What was that like?
Yeah, great. I mean, I was a couple of those, so got to have a couple of the bonding sessions, but never actually got to put a jersey on. But bonding sessions were fun, I can tell you that. But great experience. Wayne Bennett was the coach, one of them, and I think the other one was Mick Hagan. Great experience. Just to be in an environment with elite players is, I mean, of course you have that week to week, but when you go that real top end representative players, it's a privilege. And I was never sort of good enough or lucky enough to grab a game, but to be close was nice.
Came through an era of some good Queensland players, though, mate.
Yeah, there were some decent halves in my time.
yeah, absolutely.
You certainly wouldn't have been out of place, though, mate. We'll wind the clock back right back to the start of your career. So you were scouted by Parramatta as a teenager, and you brought down to Sydney from Toowoomba on a scholarship. So what was it like leaving home at such a young age to sort of chase your rugby league dream?
Yeah, I've sort of spoken about this before. Like, it was now, like at the time, it just felt like nothing. Like, I was 16 years old, but my eldest daughter's 15 now. I can't imagine her leaving home at, next year. I think I'd lose my mind. But my older brother Steve, he'd already been down to Parramatta. And growing up in Toowoomba, which is a great place, but we just knew that if you wanted to make a career out of footy, you had to move away from home. And so it was basically from the time I was, I don't know, can even remember, that was my plan. I was moving out of home to go and play footy. So whilst looking back now, it seems like a really big move. Then it was just what I needed to do.
So you end up making your first grade debut for the Eels in 2003 as a 19-year-old. What do you remember about the game? Do you remember who you played? Do you remember what the score was?
Yeah, we played the Roosters, who won the grand final the year before. So they were the reigning premiers. So I was thrown into the deep end. I know we got touched up. I can't remember the score, but we did it. Yeah, there you go. So it was a Friday night footy at Parramatta Stadium. I do remember that, and I remember being on the end of a bit of a Roosters towel up, which was nice.
Mate, after stints at Parramatta and then Manly, you joined the Warriors at the end of the 2006, heading into that 2007 season. Twofold question. How did you adapt to New Zealand life? And it's often listed as a big detractor being away from friends and family. How did you settle in to life in Auckland?
Yeah, I guess the friends and family part, that was irrelevant for me. I mean, I was in Sydney. My family's back in Queensland, so I'd always been away from my family. So that wasn't really an issue.
Yep.
When the idea was first raised about coming to the Warriors, I was skeptical, I guess. But spoke to Steve Price, who's a good family friend from way back in the day. And he's like, you got to do it. Like, I love it. He didn't, he was apprehensive to start with as well.
Yeah.
But, he basically sold it to me. I think he spoke to my old man as well about the club. So after that, I was like, yep, all in, ready to roll. And I signed for 1 year. So I wanted to just throw myself in the deep end and just go, it's sink or swim here. I can earn myself a new deal, or that could be the end. So I just went over with that frame of mind to just give it everything I had, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we end up playing 2007 and 2008 for the club, and we made the finals in both those years. And I sort of feel that there's a real similarity between those teams that you played in and sort of the current squad. So with all due respect to yourself and Rabs, you were sort of a bit of an unheralded halves combination.
Yeah.
But you took us to top four in 2007. Is that how you sort of look at this year's squad and like the halves pairing we got at the moment of Chanel Harris-Tavita and Luke Metcalf?
Yeah, I think early doors when people were looking at the teams and putting them on the ladder, I don't think many had the Warriors where they're sitting now. Many, if none, had anybody the Warriors up top. There were question marks, you're right, around the halves being, is Luke a 7? We feel like he's a 6. And are they going to be senior enough to steer the team around? But, I mean, people are eating their words that spoke about those guys because they're playing some fantastic footy. Luke Metcalf's just been... I've always had a very, very high opinion of him since he come over from the Sharks.
Yep.
But, wow, he's even gone beyond my expectations this year. He's been fantastic and a real reason that the Warriors are where they are on the table.
I think he came through Manly too. Didn't he play like nines at Manly or something? And in that nines tournament, he was absolutely outstanding. And then we didn't see him again for a long, long time, did we?
Yeah, and I think I think a lot of people look at him as being really young. I don't think he's as young as what they think. He's sort of missed a bit of footy through injury.
Yeah.
So he's got a smart head on his shoulders. Obviously, he played beside SJ and he's learnt plenty of him. And I can see plenty of SJ in the way he plays. So you can tell that Sean still works with him or has done a lot of work with him over the time.
Yeah.
But mate, he's just a classy player. My only scare is that these clubs come and poach him and get him away with these new teams coming in. So hopefully the Wild can lock him in.
Yeah, that's what we have, that kind of conversation quite a bit between ourselves about, a lot of, because they've just signed a whole heap of those young guys coming through. Halasima, Laban was re-signed this week. Tanistoa Smith re-signed, but you'd like to think that the club would want to lock Luke Metcalf up long term, especially before Mal Meninga starts coming and stiffing around with the new Perth Bears squad.
Surely, and I think you go back to, they're in a winning environment. They're at a club where they've been given an opportunity. I think, I know it had a little bit to do with Webby, but also from the outside looking in, I think he's pretty well respected. He's doing a great job there. Yes. So they're in a winning environment, and they're at a club where they seem to be bloody happy because they're playing some good footy. So hopefully that's enough to keep them there. They've already done the big move, and hopefully they see Auckland as home for a bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luke seems to be pretty happy there as well. He's had a baby over there, and I heard he's getting married in Queenstown.
Yes,
down there. So look, hopefully they get it locked, the deal done before the end of the season. I think he's off contract end of 26.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So I'm sure they'll be working in the background. Keeping it silent, and hopefully that out of the blue just brings a new extension for him.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Back to you. During your career, you scored 615 points, had a career goal kicking percentage of a ridiculous 81%. And speaking of Metcalf, one area of his game that's perhaps he's been struggling with is his goal kicking. You were probably, in our opinion, the best kicker that we've had at the Warriors. What tips or advice would you give him as a young goal kicker, trying to get his range right?
Yeah, I think a couple of things on that. There's nothing like game reps, kicking goals in games. Like, you can do it plenty of practice. I think my strike rate at the end of my career was significantly better than where I was when I started. Yep. So you've just got to sort of get those game reps, which he's getting at the moment. He's getting better and better. I think the biggest thing that I used to try and do when I was playing was make sure that I'd done my work through the week. So by the time I was putting the ball on the tee on game day, I wasn't hoping it was going over. I knew that I'd done all the work.
Yep.
And basically, I just had to go through my process. If it missed, it missed. But I was very confident in my ability that I'd done the work, and things should be sweet come game day.
Because, I mean, the Warrior, we've got a couple of guys at the club that have kicked in the past. In Chanel Harris-Tavita, Adam Pompey had a bit of a kicking a few years ago. As a kicker, if he's struggling to find his range, and I mean, we've been quite lucky that we haven't lost games because we've missed goals. Our defence have kept us in games, and we've been able to score points, and we've won a lot of tight games. But as a kicker, if he had those kicking duties taken off him, does that shatter a kicker's confidence?
Yeah. It would. It would. Once you're a goal kicker, you feel like you have a obligation to the team. So you're practicing, you're doing what you're doing, and you'll find most goal kickers, when they're goal kicking well, they're playing well off the back of that. Yeah. When they're playing good footy, usually leads into their goal kicking. They sort of go hand in hand. But I go back to a game where he kicked one right at the siren to win. So he's got the ability to do it. He's got a decent action and a decent strike. I asked Robbo early in the year, who was the goal kicking coach, trying to get myself a gig, but he's working with Daryl Halligan. So Daryl's he knows what he's doing. He'll be working hard with him, and I'm sure Sean's working hard in the background. Sean.
It's interesting because Rob and I have had this conversation before, and Rob rates Daryl Halligan quite highly, but I grew up as a Bears supporter, mate, and I think it was in 1991. He missed 4 goals in a crucial semi-final against the Panthers that Penrith ended up making the grand final. We had to back up and play Canberra the week after, and we got beat by Canberra. And then, history has it, Canberra make the grand final. And, so, mate, as a Bears supporter growing up, mate, I never saw the Bears make a grand final. Yeah, absolutely. I've met him quite a few times afterwards. I haven't had the heart to tell him how much he shattered me as a young kid. Mate, about you, though, interestingly, although you were a regular goal kicker, when you came to the Warriors, you weren't our first choice goal kicker in 2007 when you came there. Tony Martin was actually our goal kicker. And then an injury to Marto gave you your chance in round 14 against the Sharks, a game we won 12-2. You scored a try, kicked 2 from 2. And then you went on a run where you kicked 24 or 25 straight goals over the next 5 games and didn't look back. You kicked 62 from 67 that year, an impressive 94% success rate. It's one of those what-if moments, isn't it? If Marto hadn't have got injured, you may never have kicked for the Warriors.
Yeah, well, that's true. I still, I went over there. I'd always been a goal kicker, so I went over as a goal kicker. But Ivan said to me early on, he didn't want me to worry about goal kicking because I'd spent basically the full year before in reserve grade at Manly. So didn't want to put any extra stresses on me. He just wanted me to play footy and burden-free, I guess, without having to worry about kicking the goals. And I think Marto had been kicking well previously, so there was no reason to change. The thing that I guess, I still practiced through that period as well. He wanted to make sure that I was still kicking. And, it happened that day that Toz got hurt, and then I sort of took over from there. He wasn't happy about it.
No, I imagine he wouldn't have been.
He was.
I imagine he wouldn't have been.
We've had him on. He's a legend bloke, yeah.
He is. He's one of my best mates. And I still remember going over a barbecue, and his wife Mel said to me, "Witty, that's Toz's job. That was keeping him in the team. Now you've taken that off him. What are you doing to him?"
That's what he got recruited for. Yeah, they were saying they recruited him for his goal kicking. So
yeah. He's a legend bloke. I love him to death, and just one of those things.
Mate, who do you rate as the best you've seen?
Goal kicker?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good question. I think Darryl was one. I think Darryl Halligan, Jason Taylor, they're the two that changed goal kicking. It used to be like, dig it in the stand and hit and hope, and if it goes over, it seemed to be a bonus.
Yep.
So those two for me were the ones that changed it. When I was a pup when I was watching them play, so I was like, okay, that's what you got to do. I did a lot of work with Jason Taylor at Parramatta.
Yep.
He was a very good goal kicker, very structured in process because he wasn't how do I say it? He wasn't like a gifted athlete, JT. Everything he did, he worked hard for, and he, so he was a great kicker. Hazem El Masri was a great kicker. Probably the one too. I think another one is Joey Johns. Like when he started off kicking, it was pretty hit and miss. By the end of his career, he was pretty good and pretty trustworthy. Probably, I think the one that I guess comes to mind is Hazem. Yeah. Under pressure, he always seemed to come up with the right shot.
Yeah, I was always a fan of JT. Thought JT was.
Like I say, I was sorry to butt in. I was just very lucky to work with him. He was my coach, SG Ball at Parramatta, so I got to do a lot of time working with him. I used to work at the Parramatta football office, but he was in the office as well, and he'd call me and say, "Oh, come on, let's go for a goal kick." So I'd just sneak out of work, and we'd go and kick goals down the park. And he basically modelled my whole style. Then through the process, I had Darryl Halligan when I come over there, and then I had Arnie at Manly. So I had some good guys, all put slight little tinges on my style, and then I sort of added up my own little bit as well.
Yeah, okay.
You've kind of answered the next question. I was going to say, who was your goal kicking mentor? And also, how much practice did you put in per week to get to the level that you were at?
Yeah, I used to do probably two significant sessions early on in my career. Probably to the back end, it was more one, and then I'd have a few kicks. Always a kick day before the game, with not too many, but at least one real good session, maybe two through the week, depending on turnarounds. But I always used to do it. One thing I did change, and I think it helped my strike rate, was I always used to go on my day off and kick goals.
Yep.
And went through the whole process of warming up and going through the whole thing. Pardon me, I changed that when I went to the Warriors. I used to do it at the end of sessions. So I was already warm, ready to roll. And I used to like doing it after con sessions or when you're fatigued. Made you sort of lock in. And I feel like that really helped me.
I was just going to ask that. Like, did you find doing it under fatigue kind of likens it to what's going to happen in a game? Because, when you're goal kicking in a game, you're definitely doing it under fatigue. Yeah,
you're always under fatigue and you got heavy legs and, obviously you can't really replicate the pressure of game day. But, I think that definitely helped.
Yeah, okay. Mate, you played 2 home finals at Mount Smart Stadium, one in 2007, one in 2008, in front of fever pitch crowds. How big an advantage would that be for this current team if they were able to secure 1 or 2 home finals by finishing the top 2 or the top 4?
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, I prefer the game in 2008 rather than 2007 because we won. But,
so do we.
Yeah, so do we.
They remember they did those blackouts where everybody wore black in the crowd, and man, it was the best memory I have of my footy career is that game, beating the Roosters over there. And I've said this a million times before as well, but I was never lucky enough to play internationals or state of origin. But guys who did, like Steve Price and Brent Tate, they still hold those games very high in their best game list. So if they loved it, then it was it was huge. But crowd, to answer your question, crowd, it's a massive thing when the pressure's on and they're putting the pressure on the referee and they're the boys don't want to let the crowd down. It's 6-12 points. Honestly, it's amazing. They're the best fans in the world.
That 08 season, that was the season where Ruben was coming to the end of his career. Mm-hmm. And you guys all went out in solidarity and grew beards. Well, most of the team grew beards. Woody, your beard wasn't too good, mate.
There's a bit of bum fluff.
But that 08 game, we've had quite a few guys on the podcast that played in that game. Michael Luck said it was one of the best environments he's ever been in.
Hayden said he gets goosebumps every time he talks about it, every time he remembers it. He just said it was one of the highlights of his career, and it was something else that night. Yeah.
How close were you to Rubes when he was yelling Sparta off the back fence and knocked out Sia Soliola?
Yeah, so, excuse me. So I'm the goal kicker. So I've kicked the goal, and I always used to run back and be on the 10-meter line.
Yeah.
So I'm dead, and he's basically running back towards me. And I'm looking at him just thinking, oh, shit. He was scaring me, and I didn't have to tackle him. So he was coming. He was just, he was at a period of time, he just emptying the tank. And I was, watching him run back was absolutely scariest thing you can ever see. I'm just glad that I was wearing the same colour jersey because he was on a mission.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was just an unreal night. That was just so good. And as we said, you played and you starred in 2 of the greatest games in Warriors history and scored arguably, well, maybe even definitely the greatest try in Warriors history.
The most memorable.
The most memorable try in Warriors history. So you must get recognised a lot by Wars fans on the Gold Coast where you live.
Yeah.
And it must be pretty special, though, to be etched in club history like that.
Yeah, it is. It's good to be remembered for something. So there's 2 things I usually get remembered for. Someone does a rubbish dropout. They always play my rubbish dropout that I did when I was at Parramatta. But the try's a bit better. It's still now to today. Like it happened probably 2 months ago. Well, I live at just near Pacific Fair on the Gold Coast. Yeah. And I still walk around Pacific Fair, and every now and then someone will just yell out, "Put the ball down, Michael." I love it. Like I love it. I just get a big grin on my face. My daughters who are usually with me usually have a big giggle and then look around for who's saying it. But that was a special day. Yeah.
Yeah,
it reminds me of I heard an interview with the actor Christopher McDonald that plays Shooter McGavin, and he said that people just come up to him and call him Shooter all the time, and he just fully embraces it. That's just like something like that. You just sort of gotta go with it. Yeah. Like, okay, so speaking of that try, like we can't have you on and not have you talk us through that try one more time against the Storm. Eighth versus first time it's ever. 8th has ever beaten first. We're down by 1 point, 15-14. Captain Kirk takes it on the full in the in goal, and we get 20-meter restart. So, it starts off with a bit of Jerome Ropati magic there. Some silky skills from him.
It does get to there, but I think you're right. You first started with Aiden Kirk, who took a cracking catch that could have bounced, went anywhere, and he's pulled it out of nowhere and taken an amazing catch, which got us a 20-meter dropout. Something we'd been doing all year is shifting the ball early to Jerome, who had amazing footwork.
Yeah.
So that was my idea, just to throw a long ball, get it out to him, and just put him one-on-one and see what he can do. And he beat Israel Folau, I think, beat him pretty handsomely.
Yeah.
And then the big guy, the beast Manu on the edge, just steaming down there. And yeah, I don't know. I just sort of tried to follow, and as I'm running on the inside, it just opened up for me. Like all the players sort of come for Manu, and there was just a perfect passing lane there for him. And amazing, like he's like 110 kilos at this point in time, steaming down the sideline. Blokes, multiple guys coming at him. So for him to come up with a delicate, soft little pass like that, like, unbelievable. And then, lucky enough, it wasn't too far, and I could make it.
Did Ivan say anything to you after that about taking your time putting that ball down, mate?
So I told him what I was trying to do, but he actually did say to me, he goes, mate, I thought and then I've looked at the video since. I've only watched it like 10 million times.
Of course.
But you see, they go up to Ivan, and Ivan sort of looks back at the scoreboard because he saw me stand there and thought that the referee called it back, he told me. From my memory. So
okay.
my whole idea was, I used to love the World Sevens, right?
Yep.
The Rugby League World Sevens. You watch Rugby Union, they have the sevens as well.
Yes.
So you watch dudes get over the try line and just stand there and waste the clock. So that was my whole idea. So I knew that Big Blair was chasing me. He went steaming through. He couldn't stop. And I was just going to turn and just stand in the corner. And I just wanted to hold the ball as long as I could before I put it down. Stupid me. You know, this Cameron Smith, who's the ultimate professional, the best player that I ever played against, just of course he was chasing, but I didn't see him. But yeah, it's people always say I'm talking shit, but I honestly didn't realise that I sort of put the ball up until I saw the replay. But I thought I just put it down. The evidence speaks volumes. But I think it looks worse because I put the ball down and tried to throw it in the air, and then he kicked it out of my hand. So look worse. Had plenty of time, boys. Don't worry about it. Relax. We got the dub.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, mate. Yeah,
absolutely.
Never in doubt.
Mate, I want to get your thoughts on part of the game that is of the modern game now that wasn't part of our game or your game when you were playing, is the short dropout and the fact now that if it doesn't go 10, it's not a penalty anymore. It's just a play the ball. What's your thoughts on that? Because
hate it.
I was going to say I absolutely freaking hate the short dropout. I mean, I get why teams do it because it gives their defense is easier to set in a line on the goal line and defend a line, and the game is heavily defense oriented now. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because
look, I don't mind the short kickoff. The short dropout because you can compete for the ball. Because back-to-back sets is really hard to defend. You know, multiple sets defending your line is really hard. You fatigue, and that's when most teams score in their try. So I totally get it. The short dropout, sweet. You know, you're trying to get the ball back. The thing that I hate is the fact that it's not a penalty because everyone tries to do it now, and it's actually quite an art that to be able to do a drop kick, land it on the money, get it high enough for your team to go and compete for it. It's actually really hard to do. Yep. So to be able to do it risk-free, I don't like that. Like if you want to take the risk of trying to get the ball back, I think you should also have the risk of if it doesn't come off you, it's going to cost you 2 points.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's probably the part I agree with you. I hate about it. I don't mind that creating that contest and giving your team an opportunity to get the ball back. But once they changed it from being a penalty to the play the ball or whatever it is, it now every man and his dog tries it, and you see it 20 times in a game, and it's kind of a lottery. Mate, even though your time at the club was relatively brief, only 2 years, you clearly enjoyed your time there, and we know you're still a bit of a Wars fan. In fact, most Aussies that played at the club that we've spoken to, Tukes, Campo, PJ Marsh, Pricey, Mardo, Grant Ravs, all still Warriors fans today. What is it about the club that makes it so special, particularly for Aussie players that have spent time there?
I think the fact that the Aussie boys are moving away from home, so they don't have all their external family there around them. So you become a family with your teammates, and that's a really special time. The other thing is you're traveling every other week, so you're always together in hotels and planes and airports, and that can be a negative in the fact that, you got to do a lot of travel, but it makes you really galvanise as a team. The other thing, I guess, the fans there, if you don't like playing at Mount Smart Stadium in front of those people, you're crazy. You shouldn't be playing footy. So turning up and doing that, and they really support you. Yeah, they're a bit louder when you're winning, but of recent times they turn up no matter what. So I think that's, for me anyway, why people have such fond memories over there. My daughter was born in New Zealand too, which is very special to me. Some of my best mates are from there. Robbo's a good mate of mine. He owns a club. I always want to see success for friends of mine. So, I definitely have ties to the place. And, I'm a Wise fan.
Awesome.
Yeah, as we said, mate, you are forever etched in club history. For sure. But you did retire with your playing days. You did retire at a relatively young age. So, what have you been up to post-footy career?
Yeah, I look at back now, and it was a young age, but I was 30, turning 31. I was the oldest bloke in the club. So at that point in time, there were very, very few players that went past 30. I think it was and those were elite guys like Gallen. That there wasn't too many that really went past 31, 32. But it was just timing for me. I wasn't on big money anymore. I wasn't going to be on big money moving forward. My daughter was about to start school. We had plenty happening around the place. And I had, in the same time, I needed to get a knee reconstruction. I got off the crutches. The next day, I went and had a shoulder reconstruction. So everything just seemed to be lining up to call it time. And my wife and I decided, I said, okay, cool, I'm going to hang them up. And she was, I think we're just ready to get home and get settled. So we moved back to the Gold Coast. We've been here since the end of 2014 when I finished playing. Since then, I work in real estate. I work at McGrath Palm Beach here. So been doing that for sort of 10 years now, which is exciting. Keeps me busy. And I've got myself a little supplements company that I've started in the last year or so, which is a bit of a passion project. So I've got plenty going on. The girls play basketball. I think I get too much head noise when I'm quiet, so I try and keep myself pretty busy.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can attest to the bottle, man. I've been using the meal replacement shakes in an effort to try and fit a bit better into my jerseys.
It's my favourite jersey, Roo.
I
love
that's
that.
why I wore it, mate, because I know this is your favourite from the 2007 anniversary game where we had that huge win over Manly. But it's been a while since I've worn it, and I'm like, how did this shrink in my cupboard? The big off season, I think. So I've been using the Vital Shake. It is the best tasting chalk shake out there, way better than all the others going around. How did you sort of get started with the Vital, man, and what was sort of the idea or the passion behind that?
Well, I've always been obviously passionate about health and fitness and looking after my body. And I just feel like everything sort of happens for a reason. So I met a guy here who was originally a client of mine, turned into a good mate of mine. And he's just a bona fide genius. He makes supplements for all the biggest companies in Australia and around Australasia. Always speaking to him about products and the amount of products I took at different clubs, and always just down to whoever sponsored the club, right? You took those supplements, and some of them were just full of rubbish. They weren't what they said they were. So we sort of sat down together, and I had an idea that there's certain things I wanted, a couple of different products, and I was lucky enough to have this guy with me. His name's Shannon, and he helped formulate it for me. It all gets formulated down in Melbourne, so it's all Australian owned, Australian made, and I'm really passionate, really confident with the actual product. I know that it's a great product. One thing we spoke about when we were putting the product together is he's like, we can make it a little bit cheaper if we add these certain things. But I said, no, I want the best stuff in it because I want to be able to sit in front of guys like yourself and be able to say, no, this is good gear. I take it. My family takes it. You should take it because there's no rubbish in it. There's no shit in it. There's no fillers. It's good quality, and I'm happy to put my name to it and preach to it.
Yeah, mate. Well, Rob loves it. I haven't tried it yet, mate.
I'm using the Vital Drive, like Tatey was saying in one of the videos he did.
Yeah.
He replaces his afternoon coffee with the Vital Drive. So I've been using that as well, or have it in the middle of the day when I need a bit of a pick me up. And as I said, the Choc Vital Man Shake is easily my favourite out of all the ones I've tried, and I've tried a few.
You mean this old thing?
This is what I prepared earlier.
Plug it, mate. Plug it.
Plug away. And guys, at the moment, there is a end of financial year sale on. So go on to vitalman.com.au and the code EOFYS25, I think it is.
EOFY25. Yeah.
EOFY25, sorry. Get 25% off your order. You won't regret it. It's the best thing I ever did. It's helping me stay on track, trying to adhere to my calorie deficit, which is the way to go. So hopefully next time you see me, this will be a little bit less player fit on me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, we have the. So I sort of don't need to lose weight. I don't want to lose weight, but I use it as a protein supplement after I work out. But certainly I've got heaps of family that have lost weight on taking it as a meal replacement. So it's full of vitamins and minerals, and obviously whey protein. So it can substitute a meal. And then the other product we have is an adrenal test booster, and that helps boost your test. It's got standard things in there that most men, I would say 99%, are deficient in: vitamin D, magnesium, zinc. So it helps you sleep better. Helps you reduce stress. There's Tonkat Ali and Rhodosia agrestis and Rhodosia rosé. I mean, there's heaps of supplements in there that all scientifically proven to do what they say they do. And that was one thing I wanted to make sure we were putting in there. No shit. So it's good for you. I like it. My family like it. My kids take it. My wife takes it. So it's not just for men. Obviously, we sort of direct most of our marketing to men, but it's for all.
Is it good for diabetics, mate? I'm a diabetic on metformin every day and a few other things. Good for diabetics?
It is, mate. I got a diabetic who literally sits behind me at work. So I didn't sort of tell him. I knew it was okay, but I sent him in as a test dummy and gave him some product. But he's been really good on it. He's lost some weight. And the Vital Drive, this one, the Vital Drive, he takes that. It's not like a pre-workout where you get that sort of buzz, that fizz, that sort of
not a thermogenic or something like that.
No, there's no synthetics in it, so it doesn't give you that fake energy. It's just it helps you lock in. I find that I got guys that don't train, but they work in the office with myself in real estate. It just helps you focus, stay locked in on what you're doing. So he's been taking that. He's a diabetic, and it's been good for he's got the thing in his arm to read it all. So it's been good for him. So I can vouch for it.
All right, mate, I'm sold. I'll order mine tonight.
As we said, guys, jump on to vitalman.com.au, use the code EOFY, 25% off your order before the end of financial year.
Thanks,
before we let you go, mate, big game for the Wales this week, playing the four-time premiers, the Penrith Panthers. Obviously, with the travel I was listening to Webby speak about the travel today, and couldn't get direct flights from Perth to New Zealand. It was going to be like a 7-hour flight plus a 4-hour time difference, which is the reason that Kurt Catewell's been rested, and obviously why Ivan's blowing up deluxe about not having 5 of the players play for the Panthers. What's your tip for this one?
Yeah, I think the Wars are red hot favourites with those guys, those Origin guys not backing up. But with that comes a bit of risk as well, because those guys are going to get an opportunity. They're going to be sort of playing for a spot as well.
Yep.
So complacency comes into play. The boys going to just turn up and think they're going to win. I don't think that'll be the case. I'm sure Webby, with his background at the Panthers, will surely have the boys ready, and they'll be fresh coming off a week off. I'm sure the boys are pumped, ready to get rolling back in front of the home crowd. I'm backing a win. Nice strong win to the Wars.
Beautiful. I think the pressure's on us. I think the pressure's on us because, with those 5 guys not playing, I think, and where we're sitting on the table, I think, people will be expecting. So the pressure's on the Warriors to get the win, no doubt.
It is, and these are the games that you want to you want to be in those big games in the air, these are the ones you need to be ticking off and winning convincingly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, round 25, the Wires are on the Gold Coast again, taking on the Titans at Seabus, 23rd of August. So Warrior Nation, we're doing another one of the pre-game events at the Sporting Globe, like we did last time. Mate, we'd love to extend an invitation to you if you're able to make it.
What day is that game? What day?
Saturday, the 23rd of August.
See, that's going to be my problem. So I do a little bit of coaching at the moment. I coach at the Burleigh Bears, our Queensland Cup team. Most of our games are on a Saturday. Now, if we're not playing that day, 100% I'll be there. But I've got a bad feeling that I've already checked, and I don't think it's going to happen. But, if I'm available,
we go.
Is it a night game?
No, it's
5:30 game.
5:30 game.
Afternoon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we go through this with you every year when we try to get you to Magic Round.
Yeah, I know. Every time. And I'm thinking, surely, see, most games, so all our home games at the Bears, we play on a Saturday. Sometimes when we play away, we play Sundays. But it just, I don't know why. It hasn't fallen into place yet. So maybe I'll have to ask the coach for the weekend off.
What grade are you coaching at Burleigh?
So I'm just assistant coach for the Queensland Cup team. So Luke Burt's the coach.
Yep.
Old teammate of mine, a good friend of mine. So that's the reason I sort of stay involved with the footy. I want to help the boys out. They're a great bunch of lads. He's a great coach. He has endeavours to get back into the NRL and coach again. So I want to sort of help him do that if I can. But it's good to give back. It keeps me locked in with the footy and what's happening now. I guess I've only started over the last little bit to miss playing a little bit when I just watch these guys rip in and do things together. It's I don't miss the training side of it, pre-season, that's for sure. But you miss running out with the guys. So that's my little fix. I put the blue shirt on and run some messages out there and always get kicked off the field. But it's good to get back out there.
I'm going to have to throw to you, Rob, because I cannot see any questions or anything coming through on my screen. And I know you've got some Patreon stuff you want to ask Woody as well.
Yeah. So we just got a few questions that have come through, if you don't mind. We had a special question come through from one of our Gold Patreons, Alf. He especially wanted to ask you. He heard you're a junior boxing champ. He's wondering why you never carried on with boxing.
Yeah, I don't know about a champ, but I used to fight as a kid. Basically, the only reason I used to play footy, and in the off season I used to box. So I loved it, absolutely loved it. I wanted to be Jeff Fennick when I was a kid, but it basically just got to the point where there was a footy game on, the Australian titles were on, and Dad sort of said, "Okay, mate, it's got to that point. You got to pick one or the other."
Yep.
I always wanted to play footy, so footy was number one, and that's where I sort of stopped my boxing. When I retired, actually, I went back and had a professional fight under my junior amateur coach. So I sort of scratched that itch, but I loved the boxing as a kid.
Maybe you should get in touch with Tukes. Tukes organises some boxing stuff every now and then, doesn't he?
Tukes does have a charity. I'll tell you what, I'm getting punched in the face. I'm getting paid for it.
Fair enough. Justin's asking, Michael, may I ask what the delay was in ground the ball? We went through this bit of time wasting.
Didn't waste it. I think I got about 1 second in the end, but I was trying to waste more.
Yeah, you got about maybe 1.25 seconds. Yeah, but it all counts. There's only about a minute and a half left in that game anyway, wasn't there? 2 minutes.
It was, and then I tried to waste as long as I could kicking the goal, which I ended up missing it.
That's right, you did. But
they got a short kick, and we were scrambling to tackle them in the end. It was crazy times, but it all worked out.
Yeah, how good. Another question here. Michael and Steve's brother Arf was the best player in their family.
What was that one? Sorry, I lost you.
Michael and Steve's brother Arf was the best player in their family.
Who wrote that? Listen to what you're saying. Oh, halfway. Arf was all right. He's better than F-Wit.
Here's another one from Mike. What made you switch to Otago Rugby, and did you enjoy it?
Yes and no. The reason I changed is because the Warriors told me they didn't want me anymore. That was basically the real reason I left. I had a couple of opportunities to go to other NRL clubs, but I sort of sold the dream of playing for the All Blacks, really, after meeting some of the All Blacks coaches.
Okay.
And I thought that was, it was a good option for me. I thought my game sort of correlated. I had my kicking game was probably one of my strengths. So take that and goal kicking to rugby union. I was excited about. So I moved down to the coldest place in the world, Dunedin. But did I like it? Yeah, I liked it a little bit, but the coach there was an absolute clown. So it didn't really fall into place. But so I left. I signed for 2 years in New Zealand Rugby, but did 12 months, and then I went over to England.
Yeah.
Before I belted the coach.
Yeah, okay. No, of course not. Thank you. This is from Brian Legend. Thank you for playing for the Warriors. So when you were goal kicking sessions, how many shots a goal would you take?
It wasn't a certain number of kicks, but it was certain positions I'd kick from.
Yep.
And I'd always change each side of the post. So I'd go through the same amount of spots. I just wouldn't leave till I kicked them all. So, there was never any set number of kicks, but just enough that I kicked them all and knew that I'd felt like I was striking the ball all right. That was enough for me to move on. But, I occasionally get just Instagram messages from guys thanking me for playing for the Warriors. Like, it's so special. Like, I feel really honoured to have played there and really honoured to be remembered by some of the Warriors fans. It's super special. I owe more to the Warriors than they owe to me. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know about that, mate. I don't know about that.
Well, they did sack me.
Here we go.
Josh has already done the research for you, mate. So you're playing the Devils at 5 p.m. at Bishop Park on that Saturday.
Bishop Park. So that means we're in Brisbane, so I'm not going to get there.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Well.
God.
Here's a question about Vital Man. Is Vital Man available in NZ, or do you ship to NZ?
Not at this stage. Not at this stage, but that is the plan. The big plan. We get everything to fall into place, and we have Vital Man on front of the Wars jerseys. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah.
That might be a fair way down the track. Look, the plan is to get it to New Zealand, but at this point in time, no.
We should do a Ruin Hammer shirt with Witty's face and Vital Man on it.
We can do
I've got one of your shirts in here, actually.
I know.
We
sent that. I'm pretty sure we sent that to
you. Did.
Mate. Yeah,
we'll have to get another one done up for you.
Just not with your moustache. Not with your beard.
You didn't like the 80s porn, Mo? Neither did my wife.
No, mate. Mate, Woody, I want to thank you for jumping on tonight, mate, for a chat. Rob and I, we feel very privileged to be able to reconnect with some of our ex-players and have the relationship that we do with guys like yourself. It's always great. We feel very humbled. And to us, mate, you're forever and always Warrior 134.
Thank you very much. No, I'm humbled that you guys want to have me on here. So thanks for having me. Anytime.
No worries, mate. No worries. We'll catch up soon.
Worries.
We'll do.
All right. Thanks, legend.
Cheers,
Great
mate.
See you later.
See ya.
Oh, he's a champion. Absolute
Always
champion.
great to have a chat. Yeah. And I remember at the Sporting Globe when he was there in 2023, everyone was just walking up to him with their beers, going, "Put the ball down."
The best thing about that day was when we got to the stadium, he just came and sat with us in the grandstand.
Yeah. Well, he's actually in our blog. If you go back and watch our blog from 2023, we're doing our little pre-game preview, and he's in the background.
He's in the background. Yeah. And then we're peppering him with questions all game. Hey, Woody, what do you think of that? Hey, Woody, what would you do here? He's
Do you remember this guy, or do you still see Ian Henderson, or do you still see all that sort of stuff? But champion guy, always so giving of his time, and we're more than happy to support him with his Vital Man ventures.
Absolutely, and we're going to try and endeavour. I mean, as I said to Michael, and it's not shooting shit up his ass. We are very humbled to be in the position that we're in, where we've had those reconnections with ex-players. I think when we first started, mate, I think we went through, I think there's like 30 or 35 ex-players that we've actually interviewed on the Ruin Hammer webcast. And some of
they're
them
all on
absolute
YouTube
legends.
now. Yeah. They've all been absolute champions. Like some of them were like present players, and then so many of the legends of the past. So if you do want to watch any of those chats, just jump on our YouTube channel. There's a playlist.
So many of those guys. It hasn't been like get them on, have a chat, and then that's it. We've formed these relationships. Tukes, we've been to so many events with Tukes. You actually went to Tukes' wedding when he got married.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Campo's always good with us. Witty. Maybe we'll get a couple of these guys back on again over the course of the season and have some revisited chats like we just have with Michael, because they're always a bit of fun for us too.
Yeah, and I mean, like we've been fans for 30 years, like most of you guys there, and it's just such a buzz to relive some of these magical moments from the past. I mean, although we obviously never tasted the premiership glory, there has been some moments like the 2008 games that are just absolutely etched in Warriors folklore, and he was such a big part of it. And I never get tired of hearing the stories about that, no matter who we get on. And love to hear the stories about the early days of the club as well, like when we had Big Joe Vungana and Stacey Jones and Mark Cotto and these guys on that were talking about the early days of the Warriors. It's just fantastic, and it's kind of like what we started this thing. It's like we're interested in these stories, so we guess that you guys would be interested in hearing
absolutely
that too.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Speaking of ex-Warriors, some news broke during the week. Warrior 199 Matty Allwood suffered a serious spinal injury 2 weeks ago in his first game for his new club, playing for the Dora Creek Swampies in the Central Coast Rugby League here in New South Wales. There's a GoFundMe page on the GoFundMe website. I haven't got those details here, but if anyone wants to make a donation in support to Matt Allwood, just jump on the GoFundMe page and look for his fundraising page. And then in the other bit of Warriors news this week, I spoke about it just a little bit before. Tanner Stowers-Smith, his contract's been extended until the end of 2028. Great to see the Warriors locking these young kids up on long-term deals, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. That's the whole point of these pathway systems, is to try and get some good young talent coming through and holding on to these guys.
Yep.
And he's come from the South Island, and he's come up and gone through the pathway system and made his debut, and he's played a couple of games at first grade now and looked very strong. And it's awesome to be able to hang on to these guys long term. And I mean, we've all seen what Penrith have done with their junior nursery out there, and when they got their pathways sort of in place, and it's just so exciting for what's to come in the future.
Absolutely. Speaking of pathways, mate, just quickly, the Flegg, our Jersey Flegg side had a 32-20 win over the fourth placed Eels last week. I think that's getting the Warriors up in and around that top 8. I'm not sure if it's an 8 or a 6 for the Flegg. And then our New South Wales Cup, mate, 46-23 over the Eels. Continue on their winning ways. I think they've only dropped one game this year, and they remain 3 points clear at the top of the table. And we say it week in, week out, but, the strength of our Cup team is, backing up the strength of our first grade team, and it helps with the next man up mentality that Webby's trying to instill in the club. We'll quickly run through round 15, mate. There was only a couple of games. Last Thursday, Sharks 30 over the Dragons 18. Mate, Dragons led...
Grim at half-time. 18-6 at half-time. Yeah.
Dragons led 18-6. Sharks with 24 unanswered points. Two teams that look very ordinary. Sharks are Dragons a team under pressure, and Flano's come out in support of his son. A lot of criticism this week about Kyle. Surprise, surprise. Nepotism at its best.
Yeah, and we've seen it. We've seen it before. Yeah,
we have. Friday night, another team that's playing like busters. The Titans 28 over the Sea Eagles 8. Mate, Manly looked incredibly flat for a side that had no Origin representation.
It was bizarre. I think that result says a lot more about Manly than it does about the Titans.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the Titans played better than they have in a while. But it's a bit of a bludger of a game, and just Manly was frustrating to watch. They just could not get it together, even with Cherry Evans there, not picked for Origin, so you thought he would have liked to have made a pretty big statement. So, it's quite meek from them.
I'll get your thoughts on Siebes in a minute, mate, when we get into our NRL talking points. But just out of this game, Alofi Pereira, he became the fastest player. I don't mean speed-wise, but in terms of games.
Because that's Josh Adokar, remember?
Yes. Fastest player to score 50 NRL tries. He's done that in just 52 games, and he scored a double. So he's now scored 51 tries in 52 games. That's not a bad strike rate at all. And
not that he sneezed that. Yeah.
Olakau'atu injured his... dislocated his shoulder, so he'll be out for a little while. Saturday night, the Roosters 12 over the Knights 8.
80 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Never get back. Two street teams just absolutely. It was a bludger of a game.
The Knights had enough possession to win 10 games, and they couldn't get it together. And apparently, you can control the ball with your forearm now.
Yes,
you can just that was not a try.
No.
I'm sorry, that was not a try.
No.
But anyway.
The other game on Saturday, the form team of the comps, the Dolphins 58 over the Cowboys 4. Admittedly, the Cowboys had a few of their Origin stars out. But yeah, a really dominant performance from the Dolphins. Herbie Farnworth, it's no surprise. I think he's the best centre in the comp. He just keeps going from strength to strength. Young Katoa is a find, isn't he? And Cody Nikorima, why couldn't he play like that when he wore a Warriors jersey?
It's all Warriors playing.
Hey?
What's doing, Cody? The poor old Cowboys. Toddy's mob looked decidedly second rate against the Dolphins. It was like boys versus men. Tore them to shreds.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on the Cody Nikorima calling Herbie Farnworth through to score? Yeah, so that he gets a try, because he's going for the record of tries in consecutive games. So he's at 9 now, I think. He scored in his last 9 games.
It's one of those things that if I was a Cowboys supporter, I'd be probably a little bit annoyed about. It just looks a little bit kind of arrogant.
It does, doesn't it?
In my mind.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
No.
You should be professional and just, score the try. But I don't know. They did a montage afterwards of all the times
that people have done it.
Happened. Yeah. So, I don't know, I suppose each their own.
Jack Bostock, he became the first Dolphin in their short history to score 4 tries in a game. And Jordan McLean became the first player in rugby league history to play alongside a father and a son. He played alongside Tom Leroy-Lars in 2015 at the Melbourne Storm. And then Caden Lars made his debut in the game on the weekend. So he's the first player ever to play with a father and a son. So, yeah, nice one.
Caden Lars, it looked a bit like Ivan Drago, didn't he?
He did. His first run was a good one too. Like, he got in there. Yeah.
Big, strong, strapping young lad.
And then Sunday, the Bulldogs 24 over the Rabbits 18. Bulldogs led 18-0 before we had that stoppage.
Bizarre.
9 minutes from halftime with the lightning strikes here in Sydney. I must admit that I got bored in that period of time and turned the footy off and forgot it was on and turned it back on, and it was a 24-18 game. And I thought, okay, well, good for the Rabbitohs coming back, but the Bulldogs still kicking away at the top of the comp there.
Bulldogs won it in that first 15 minutes where they put on that try blitz. Old Sexy Sexton was involved in all of it, which is interesting because he's apparently battling it off with Lloyd Christmas.
Who knows what's going on at that club at the moment? It'll be interesting to see. They got the bye this week, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when their team's named. Yep.
Yeah.
And speaking of byes, the Broncos, Raiders, Panthers, Storm, Tigers, Eels, and Warriors all had the bye, which means that table at the moment. Bulldogs on top on 26. Raiders and Warriors both on 24 and the Storm on 22. Round out the top 4. There's a significant points gap back to the Sharks in 5th on 18 points. There's 6 points between the Warriors in 3rd and the Sharks in 5th. So we've got a little bit of a buffer there. The Dolphins climbing up the ladder after 3 consecutive big wins. They're in 6th on 16 points. The Broncos move into 7th and the Roosters in 8th. Both those teams also on 16 points. And you got the Panthers 9th on 15. Cowboys have fallen out of the top 8. They're also on 15. Then you got the Manly, the Dragons, Tigers, Rabbits, all on 14 with the Knights, Eels and Titans on 12 and fighting it out for the coveted wooden spoon.
Yeah.
We touched on it earlier, mate. Congratulations. Queensland levelling the series last night in a 26-24 game played in Perth. Nail-biter. Game played in Perth. 24-0. No, 24-6 at halftime.
26-6. Yeah, 26-6 at halftime. We were looking good.
And
probably
then
the worst thing that happened.
The Penrith connection kicked into gear in the second half. Interestingly, New South Wales could have had that game in the bag if goal kicking was better than it was. I can understand that Cleary didn't kick because he picked up a groin injury or a quad injury in the captain's run. But when you got a guy like Stephen Crichton and Latrell Mitchell, who are both recognised goal kickers, wouldn't you think at some point Lomax would hand the reins over? Daly would have, this isn't a 27-week competition. This is 3 games for a series. Wins are important.
Well, it was 100%. It 100% cost them because it was 5 tries to 4. New South Wales were just coming home with a wet sail, and I was just sitting there resigned to the fact that they were going to get overrun. But I think, obviously goal kicking was a massive factor. But I think New South Wales just had moments of poor discipline.
Yep.
And the handling wasn't great. You can understand because of the conditions. But there was just that crucial mistake in the last minute or so from Payne Haas.
Yep.
That sort of let the pressure let the pressure go, and I think Queensland were just able to hang on. It was just like watching the Warriors over the past season, getting out to a good lead and then watching the opposition storm back into it. But this was a different level altogether, State of Origin, and Brian Toto was unstoppable. Little cannonball there on the wing, just go over for tries, and Crichton and they're a scary team. And I said it to you guys in the chat at halftime. It's far from over. It's 26-6. But I mean, if these guys get going, and they should have won that. They should have iced a few of those kicks. You expect a guy like Lomax's quality, he'd be like a 70-80% kicker at club level.
Easy, yeah.
So I mean, you can say that the kicks were crucial, but also I think from New South Wales from their side, it was probably the ill discipline as well that led to them being in the position that they had to make up so much ground in that second
Absolutely.
half.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about Ashley Klein's refereeing performance.
Yeah.
There was a 9-0 penalty count at one stage. I think it ended up 10-2 for the game. But I mean, a lot of those penalties that were given out in the first half were just purely ill discipline, high shots, and that kind of stuff. So I mean, the referee can only referee the game that's in front of him. And I mean, not only that, there was quite a few handling errors. The conditions were pretty atrocious at times in that game as well. But we go to a decider. I think
it's what everyone wants. I think so. Everyone wants to see a decider. So it's going to be a good game. And let's not forget the one Warrior playing last night was arguably the best on field.
I've got a theory, mate. I've got a theory. The Warriors have only had 2 players in this series, and both times that team's won. So if Billy or Laurie Daly want to win this series, then they've got to look at the Warriors that they can pick in their team, because that's what's making the difference.
Well, I don't know. Who have we got this New South Wales eligible? Luke Metcalf?
Metcalf in the halves.
Would be about it. Yeah. I don't know. I think Loz might have to make some changes.
Jacko Ford?
Oh, yeah, Jacko Ford would be...
Jacko Ford off the bench. Wade Egan. Yep. Wade Egan.
Egan, of course. What do I think? There's heaps of them. But Kurt Capewell continued his stellar club form and took that to the biggest stage and performed great for Queensland.
Only Queensland forward to run for over 100 metres. That's massive.
Yeah, it is massive, and especially when you take into account the conditions and all that kind of thing. And he got himself a nice try. So he'll be there. He'll be there for game 3. It's going to be a cracker down at Sydney. The decider. It'd be interesting, and I mean, if Queensland can bottle what they did in that first half, I think it'll be a great game. But Yeah,
More
just cool.
importantly, mate, that field has been blessed with Ruin Hammer walking up onto the
Yes.
the halfway line. So
So especially Rogers' corner there. So hopefully there's a fair bit of action. But yeah, but as you guys all know, it's the only time of year. There's only 3 games every year where you and I are on opposite sides. So
yes,
it's the state of origin. Obviously, you being from New South Wales, I'm a Queenslander. So, but yeah, it's all good fun. And
it
and,
is.
and as I always say, it's Warriors first and Queensland second. So
Absolutely.
I don't mind losing the Origin series as long as the Warriors keep winning. So.
Yeah, for me, it's Warriors first, Kiwis second, and then New South Wales a very distant third.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mate, some quick talking points before we get into the preview of this week's game, and we do appreciate everyone sticking with us. A couple of things that have come out this week. Seabold at Manly.
Weird one, eh?
Come under a little bit of pressure. He's done his 7-minute assessment of players, highlighting their downfalls for the season, or their indiscretions, or their discrepancies, or performance stuff for the season. The talk is that Michael Ennis, old Fox Sports Lego head himself, is being touted as their next coach to take over after Seabold. Apparently, Seabold's only contracted to the end of next year, and then
has he got a club option or a
he's
manager
openly
option?
apparently he's openly said that he'll walk away or something. But I don't know. He's going to make some changes next week. I think that they're saying that Lehigh Opawati will move to fullback. Tommy will go into the centres. They've told Jason Saab and Lachlan Croker they're going to be dropped. So you'll probably see Jazz Tavanga back in the 9 jersey. But yeah. He's a weird guy, isn't he, Siebes?
Well, you know firsthand. you got to tell the story again.
Oh, we're at Central Coast Stadium, and the Warriors have just played Newcastle and lost at Newcastle in round 2, I think it was, of 2021. And Anthony Seabold was the assistant coach at Newcastle after he'd been sacked by the Broncos or wherever it was. Broncos, wasn't it? He'd been sacked at the Broncos.
Yeah, some Broncos, yeah.
And myself and the great Juan were up there. And during that season when the Warriors were based in Terrigal, we had access to the players at the back of the grandstand. We were always allowed into a certain area where other fans couldn't get to and kind of have a bit of a conversation, and used to catch up with Rog after every game, what have you. Anyway, the great Juan is standing next to me, and Siebes walks past. And the great Juan goes, hey, Siebes. Siebes goes, yeah, g'day, fellas. And
hey, guys.
the great Juan goes, so you're heavily entrenched there in the Knights? And Siebes doubles back and staunches over the great One and goes, what do you mean heavily entrenched?
See, that's hilarious for so many reasons, but it's like just a random bloke at the footy says something to you like that, and you turn around and arc up. Like, and you said, "Oh, sorry, mate. No,
I know. Yeah. Like, no. I'm just saying that you're coaching the Knights.
What do you mean heavily entrenched?
Oh, mate, and that became
that's the joke.
Yes.
So whenever you hear us talking about Siebes being heavily entrenched, where that comes from. Yep. It's a bit of a weird one. I've got a bit of a theory about coaches. I think you can survive 2 sackings and get another head coaching gig. But I think once you get sacked from your third club or you depart your third club, I don't think there's not many coaches that could get another gig. Maybe only like a Wayne Bennett or something. But I don't think he's been sacked twice. But it's hard to say what the whole problem was there at the Broncos, because they're obviously a basket case of a club there, and they continue to be and still are now. But everyone knows he's a bit of a different dude. Like, he's a bit of a different cat. Like, he's a bit sort of technical. He's very like scientific with his approach, and a lot of sort of mumbo jumbo that sort of comes out, and they say he bamboozles a lot of players, all that stuff he goes on about. Whether or not that the Manly boys are sort of starting to sort of
apparently
rebel against that.
Similar to our mate, the OME, Old Man Elliot, with his PowerPoint presentation. Apparently, Siebes is big on Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah,
now,
right.
I don't know
formulas and all that stuff.
I don't know what a rugby league player can learn from an Excel spreadsheet. I'd love to see it. But yeah, apparently that's he's like one of those like the old mad professor type thing.
All right.
He's
you can see how that would wear a bit thin.
He's going to end up in the same nursing home as old man Elliot, wearing his cardigan and his slippers and drinking his cocoa and yelling at the clouds. But you're right in the coaches. You look at Jason Taylor had his chance at a couple of clubs. He's now assistant at the Bulldogs, but probably destined never to be a first-grade coach again.
They
Trent Barrett.
Assistant coaching gigs. Yeah, yep. Trent Barrett. Well, he's at the Broncos now, isn't he? So
Steve Kearney.
Yeah, Steve Kearney.
A great assistant coach, but yeah, put him in charge. I mean, he failed at Parramatta and he failed dismally at the Warriors. But interesting. I saw today. I haven't got this written down. This is off the top of my head. Ben Gardner has been announced as the assistant coach to Mal Meninga at the Perth Bears.
The name is familiar. Was he at the West Tigers?
I think he might have been. He's actually the coach of Samoa.
Okay. Yep.
But I don't think he's got ties to any NRL club at the moment. So
no Sam Burgess like they were kind of.
No, I don't think Sam wanted an assistant gig. And then the other ones that they were touting were guys like Dean Young and Josh Hannay.
Yep.
Possible. But yeah, neither of those guys. Mick Ennis, going back to Mick Ennis at Manly, he would be, if he becomes coach of Manly, you think he's going to be trying to get Reece Walsh
targeting a young superstar.
That and a truckload of tissues.
Oh, mate, yeah, he'll be keen to get his idol in there somewhat one way or another. Maybe that's why they're phasing Turbo out of fullback now.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. Mate, I don't want to talk too much on it, but Billy Slater's comments after the Aaron Woods grub comment.
You're right the first time.
I've watched his response a couple of times, and the first time I watched it, I didn't see an issue with it. The second time, it kind of looked like it was really, really prepared, and then the whole alluding to Paul Green's mental health stuff probably wasn't a good look. The interesting thing is Billy's really got a short memory, because I remember back in 2010 the whole Corey Patterson incident where he told him to go and have a sook or something after.
Cry in your room.
Yeah. So I won't ask you for your comments on that, mate, because that's played out in the media. I do think it was used quite well by Billy to galvanise that Queensland team, because they look a lot hardened in the Origin game last night,
and it really showed in that the opening sort of exchanges there.
Did you pick up what was on their sleeves?
The 95. Yeah. So it's 30. It's been 30 years since the Neville Nobodies.
Correct.
And so they've got 95 on one sleeve and 2025 on the other. And I've said this many times, but the 1995 State of Origin series is such a special memory for me.
Yep.
Because that was just incredible. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing. It was right in the middle of the Super League war. Neither team could pick Super League players, but the ARL still had. New South Wales still had a gun team.
Yes.
Full of all those Manly guys that were doing really well, and Tim Brashes, Rod Wishart's, Mary McGregor, and all those guys, and
Queensland. Andrew Johns, Freddie Fittler, all of those guys.
Yeah, and Queensland could barely put a team together. And I've been watching the documentary with Fatty and Choppy Close and Ben Iken. It's amazing. Like half of them had no idea who they were. They had a smattering of guys that had played. Like they had Rowdy Shearer. They had Mark Hone, who'd played a little bit, Gavin Allen, these guys, but they were all sort of, not superstars. And they gave opportunities
Benny Iken.
Benny Iken, like he was only 18. Fatty didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
Like apparently they said they had to pick a 17th guy, and they had no idea who to pick because there was no one left. And apparently someone just said, "Oh, there's a kid at the Gold Coast Seagulls at the time."
Yeah,
who's showing a little bit of promise. Why don't we get him in there? He played 3 first-grade games or something.
Yes.
And amazing, like that launched his career, and like it's just so iconic, like the Billy Moore Queenslander, and the fact that the first game was 2-0, and then the fact that we won the series 3-0 was just amazing, and
Yeah.
that image of Brett Dallas streaking away in Melbourne was amazing, and then that third game in Brisbane, we talk about a fever pitch crowd. I remember that was massive at the old Suncorp Stadium before they've done it up, and yeah, special memory. So yeah, it's not hard to draw inspiration from.
Was that at the old Lang Park? Was it Lang Park?
Old Lang Park, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was still called Suncorp, but it was the early days of the Suncorp sponsorship.
Yeah, okay.
So they still only had the two main grandstands. Then they still had the parts around the edges where the sort of concrete bits where you'd sit.
Did you ever go to the old Lang Park?
Yes, I went there before it was done up, so I went there for a few Crushers games. That's the first time I ever went there.
I went to an Origin at Lang Park. I don't know what year it was. I'm thinking, actually, it might have been 97.
Okay.
Yeah, it might have been 97. New South Wales wore a two-tone blue jersey.
Yeah,
and I think Kevin McGuinness played Ken McGuinness was playing in that side.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so that must have been around them. Yeah.
I actually went, I was working with a guy back in those days who had ties to Parramatta, and he got us on a tour that was led by Steve Edge and Wayne Pearce. And we're staying on the Gold Coast, game at Brisbane. We got stranded in Brisbane. And that was back in the day. I don't know if it still happens up there, mate. Remember they used to do limos all the time instead of taxis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Caught a limo all the way back to Gold Coast from Brisbane. Yeah, good memories. Mate, let's push forward. Round 16 this week. Warriors take on the Panthers at Go Media Stadium.
Yep.
Saturday night. Have you got the team list there? Do you want to run through it?
I do. Yeah, well, Saturday afternoon for us, it'll be the 3:00 game. Yeah, we've got Charles Klukstar, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wings. In the centres, Adam Pompey and Mawala Graham Taufa has been named to make his return to first grade. Chanel, Harris, DeVito, and Luke Metcalf in the halves. James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan, and Murata Niokore in the front row. Back row of Leka Halasima, Jacob Laban, and Aaron Clark. On the interchange bench, Tamate Martin, who will be playing if he plays his 100th first grade game.
Yep.
Jackson Ford, Demetric Munga, Tanastow Smith, and the extended bench of Sam Healy, Bunty Apoa, Tanner Boyd, Ed Cossey, and Eddie Iremia Toyava.
Yeah, MGT picked in the centres, obviously. Ali Latua, Rocco Berry still not fit for first grade. Kate will be rested, obviously, with the travel. Apparently, Webby was saying he wouldn't arrive until Friday morning at the earliest. So
not ideal preparation, especially after that tough game the other night, last night.
As you said, mate, TMM playing his 100th NRL game. Gee, that's taken a long time, hasn't
it? It has, and with good reason.
Yes.
Yeah, they had that unfortunate health issue that kept him out of the game for a while, so he would have brought it up a lot sooner. But congratulations to him. Still interested to see what he's going to be doing next year because he's off contracts. And last I heard, Parramatta are sort of chasing him.
They need a half. They need someone to play outside of Mitch Moses. They've lost Dylan Brown for next year, and missed out on Lockie Galvin. I don't know if anyone heard, but Lockie Galvin went to the Bulldogs.
Did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently so.
When did that happen?
Not sure. A couple of weeks ago. And, we'll talk about the Eels a bit later, but they're a team under pressure. They got Dean Hawkins and, I don't know who's playing 6 for them this week.
Ronnie Volkman's still in the mix there, isn't he?
Joash Papali'i, the winger that made his debut a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Ronnie Volkman's still on the books there. I think he's injured. He got injured earlier in the season. Ian Healy. Sam Healy. I was kind of hoping he'd retain his spot in that 17. And personally, nothing against TMM. I think I'd just rather see Healy in there. But I get where Webby's coming from, and I'm not going to second guess him. TMM offers a little bit more versatility.
Yeah.
Can play fullback, can play in the halves. I said before when we were talking to Witty, all the pressure's on the Waz in this one, mate, because Penrith
Absolutely.
without all their superstars. What do you reckon? What's your thoughts on this?
Look, despite the fact they got those superstars out, it's not the worst team on paper. They've still got a lot of strike in their team. They've still got a fairly good back line. Thomas Jenkins has been scoring heaps of tries. They've still got Isaac Tungo. McLean is there, and they've got like the halves. Brad Schneider's played a fair bit of first grade, and also Blaise Talangi. We know what he can do. He carved us up end of last year, playing for the Eels over at Mount Smart. So that they won't be shy to sort of have a red hot go against us, and they got nothing to lose really. So you're right, all the pressure is on us, and but I think if we stick to what we've been doing, stick to the process, and play the kind of footy that we have done for the majority of the year, then I think we should get away with the win. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. People are going to be carried away saying we're going to flog them, but they're still a Penrith team coached by Ivan Cleary.
Exactly.
So they're not going to surrender. And they'll give us a tough game, but I think we'll win comfortable enough, but maybe by 12. I'm thinking, I'd just be happy to get the win at this point in time because it's a bit of a danger game for me, a bit of a banana skin game, as my mate Tim would say.
2 important games this week and next week going into another bye. But yeah, I agree. I think Penrith, I don't think it's going to be I think the pressure's on us because of the players that are out for Penrith, but I don't think it's going to be an easy win. However, I do expect us to win. And I said this to you the other day. We've played Canberra twice and Melbourne, who are the two of the other teams in the top 4, and we haven't come away with wins again in those games. A Penrith side who's going to probably be there and abouts in the top 8 at some point this year, at the end of the year. These are the games you want to win to stamp a little bit of authority on that top 8. So I'm going to pick that the Warriors win, but yeah, I think it's only going to be 8 or 10 points in it. Going to be an interesting one. Other round 16 games this weekend, mate. We'll quickly go through them. Is there anything you want to say else about?
No. Look, just that the win is all that matters at this stage, and then hopefully carry that momentum the following week against the Broncos because we're going to buy after that.
Obviously, a sold-out game over there at Go Media Stadium. Our good mate and our godfather, Richie Morgan's over in New Zealand at the moment. He's had to go home for a bit of family illness. He's going to get himself to the game on the weekend, but he is looking for some tickets. So if anyone's got 3 tickets I think he's looking for. If anyone's got 3 tickets, hook the brother up. He does so much for the Warrior fan base here in Australia and over in New Zealand that if someone can help him out with some tickets, get in touch with him through the Warrior Nation page.
May have gotten some, but I think he's got some other people that are looking for tickets as well. So regardless, get in touch with him if you do have some to spare, and they'll go to good use for sure.
Absolutely. Friday night, mate. Tomorrow night, the Tigers take on the Raiders at Campbelltown Stadium. Despite reports it was going to happen, Taylor May not named for the Tigers. And for the Raiders, Ricky's son, Jed, named on the wing for his NRL debut. Is Jed the one that Jamin Salmon had an issue with, and hence the weak-gutted dog?
I'm beginning to think maybe it is. They sure didn't want to save his debut for when they play the Dogs next. Look, jokes aside, I think the Raiders will be way too good for the Tigers, even though it is being played at Campbelltown. In fact, I heard a stat, like the Tigers actually have a terrible record at Campbelltown.
Yeah, they do.
Which is weird.
But they don't play. That's the problem that the Tigers have is they're a team that don't play enough at the one. Like they play 3 games at Campbelltown a year, but they play teams that they never beat.
Yeah, like us.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the Raiders will be way too good for them, like 13+ win, I think, from them.
I think the Raiders will be way too good as well, and I'm looking forward to having another nepotistic coach in there.
Daddy's boy.
There's a couple in there. There's a couple that have gone through.
Certainly has been over the years.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting. We should do a list of those. Top of our
Chris
head.
Chris Anderson's son played for a bit.
Ben,
at the
Chris
Sharks.
and Ben.
And Ben at the Storm.
John Lang and
Martin
Lang. Of course, you got Ivan and Nathan.
And Nathan and
Kevin Walters and
his
boy.
Yes.
You've got Brad Arthur, Jacob Arthur.
Yeah.
And then obviously when Mick Ennis takes over Manly, Mick Ennis and Reece Walsh. Oh no, they're lovers. They're lovers. It's completely different. Saturday, Warriors versus Panthers, Go Media Stadium. As you said, mate, MGT named in the centres, Capewell rested, all Panthers Origin players rested. We've both picked a Warriors victory in that one. The Dolphins and the Knights at HBF Park in Perth on Saturday night. Interestingly, Dom Young, who played for the Roosters against the Knights last week, plays for the Knights against the Dolphins this week.
The old Predators back.
Jackson Hastings back to the extended bench. I thought he was quite good for the Knights last week.
There's something up with that guy, hey.
Adam O'Brien just doesn't want to win games of footy.
Wayne Bennett and Darius Boyd, we forgot.
That's right, yes, we did too. Mate, I'm going to pick the Dolphins this will be 4 games in a row. The Dolphins have won by 40.
Oh, yeah, Dolphins will pants them, for sure.
Yep.
As much as the Knights are not a team to give up a lot of points, I think it'll happen here.
Yeah. If anyone does do Supercoach, I've put the captain on Herbie Farnworth this week, mate. Herbie Farnworth to go big in Supercoach.
You need Herbie to go bananas?
Yes. Rabbits versus Storm at Accor Stadium on Saturday. Lewis Dodd named at 6.
Finally getting a run,
Yeah, finally getting a run. Partner Jamie Humphries in the halves. Mate, Storm will get this easy.
Has to be Storm. Only a bit of little Trell magic could sway the result any other way. But I think Storm. I don't think they'll destroy them. I think it'll be somewhat close.
Yeah.
But I think Storm comfortable enough. Yeah.
I was actually at Accor Stadium today for a business meeting. The company I work for, we're tendering to do the waste services at Accor Stadium.
Yep.
So I went for a meeting at Accor Stadium today. I was there for a little while today. Went out on the field. Yeah, that big Rabbitohs Burrows.
Yeah.
That's already, like, they've got that set up already on the field.
Yeah.
So
they'll probably just leave it there because they know that they're not going to get a sellout crowd.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Sunday, mate, Broncos versus Sharks, Suncorp Stadium. This is a hard one. Josh Karapani keeps his place on the wing. Selwyn Cobbo into reserve grade.
He's played winner Manly. We were watching him play last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look. This will tell us.
This will tell us a bit about
better sample of are the Broncos back or was last week just because I playing the Titans.
Well,
I think the Broncos will win. The Sharks are just so inconsistent, but I think I had to say it, but I think the Broncos might be starting to click a little bit, and I think they'll win pretty comfortably, actually.
I know the Sharks won last week, but they did struggle in that game.
Yeah.
Against a pretty piss poor opponent.
Yeah.
I actually think the Sharks will slide out of the 8.
Right.
I don't know if they'll make the 8 this year. I agree. I think the Broncos will win. If they put that black jersey on, they'll definitely win.
Yeah.
Roosters versus Cowboys at Allianz Stadium. Origin players named for both teams.
I got to go with the Roosters.
Yeah.
The home team. Cowboys, I think they'll have to have their players back up. They're getting to the stage where they've dropped out of the 8, so they're going to need those guys to back up. But I just think the Roosters will be too good for them.
I agree.
At home. I don't think it'll be by much, but I think the Roosters will.
Yeah, I think the Roosters will win as well. And the final game of the round is the Eels versus Titans at Combank Stadium. The Spoon Bowl.
Spoon Bowl.
As I said,
version of the Spoon Bowl, yeah.
Dean Hawkins and Joash Papali'i both named in the Eels halves. Tino's named on the bench and Dave Fafita on the extended bench for the Titans.
No Mitch Moses, and their mini revival this year was all stemmed around Mitch Moses.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I just feel the Titans have probably got more strike in their team.
Yeah, I think too.
If they get it right, they'll get a win over the Eels. But this could be like a real high scoring close game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Jaden Campbell's doing enough in the halves. I think AJ Gibson's been good at the back for them, filling in for. Yeah. So I'll say Titans to win, Cam Pereira to get a double to go 53 tries in 53 games. There you go, mate.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think that's pretty short odds to happen, actually. He's there.
Yep. And the buys, Seagulls, Bulldogs and Dragons have the buys. Don't forget, after this week, there's going to be a game at Suncorp Stadium the following week against the Broncos. Yep. There's going to be a massive pre-game event at the Lord Alfred Hotel.
Make sure you get there from 12.
What we might do next week is get Richie Morgan on to chat about that. Give everyone all the details for that. And just so you can put in your calendars, guys, Broncos at Suncorp, there's a pre-game event, Lord Alfred Hotel. Knights at Newcastle, we're doing a pre-game event at West Leagues Club at Newcastle. Rob's coming down for that game.
I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
That'll be a good one. Bulldogs at Accor Stadium. When we play the Bulldogs at Accor Stadium, there's going to be a pre-game event at the locker room. Of course, we spoke with Witty about the Titans at Seabus Stadium. We're going to be having a pre-game event at the Sporting Globe.
Always good. Make sure you get along to that. It's always packed out as well. A lot of Waz fans on the Gold Coast.
Absolutely. And then the final game of the season against Manly at Four Pines Park, going to be a pre-game event at the Brookvale Hotel, walking distance to Four Pines Park. So jump on the Warrior Nation page, go to the events section. Richie's got all the details for all the pre-game events coming up to take us through to the end of the year. And of course, if the Warriors are playing at Go Media Stadium, the Warriors home away from home here in Sydney is the Hudson Hotel. So that's where fans get together to watch the game in Sydney. And I'm pretty sure that will still be happening. Mate, a little bit of housekeeping to finish off.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to say a massive thanks as always to our Patreon supporters. Especially thanks to Alf. Thanks for sending in your question for Witty. If you do want to support us with what we do here at Roo and Hammer, then the link is on the screen there at Patreon, Roo and Hammer. For as little as $3 a month, you can support us in what we do here. And another way that you can show your support is to jump on our Roo and Hammer store on Redbubble. Make sure you go through the actual Roo and Hammer store, Redbubble people, Roo-and-Hammer/shop. Some great designs on there. I'm working on the 2025 version of the ever popular Up the Waz. So I'll hopefully have something a little bit new on that design. So keep your eyes peeled. There's always specials on Redbubble, and whatever you buy, a small proceed to that goes back to us to help support us with what we're doing. So thank you so much to all you guys that have supported us by buying merchandise or being Patreon members. We really do appreciate it, and it goes a long way to helping us bring the presentation that we do for you guys every week. And as Witty mentioned, of course, Vital Man, if you're after any supplements, meal replacement shakes, as he said, he's got everyone using it. His wife, his daughters, it's for everyone. So, if you want to increase your protein intake, or you like me and you want to use it for meal replacement, this is the thing to get. The chocolate shake is fantastic. You won't regret it. Jump on there. He's got the code on there is usually reserved for Roo and Hammer fans, but at the moment he's got an even better deal. EOFY25. So if you use that code at bottleman.com.au, you get 25% off your order, and you won't regret it. So jump on there and have a look. And it's Australia only at the moment, as he said, but he's working on getting it to be available for New Zealand as well.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, mate. That wraps up tonight's show.
If you did miss if you tuned in late and you did miss the Michael Witt chat, you can always go back and watch it on our YouTube channel or on Facebook as well. We had Witty in for about the first hour or so. So it's well worth going back and having a listen if you did miss it.
Absolutely. And just a massive thank you to Witty Warrior 134 for jumping on, having a chat. Great friend of the show. Grab yourself some Vital Man supplements there. I think he's talked me into it, mate. I think I'll have to order some. I'm always worried about what I can and can't take being a diabetic.
Yep.
Getting the, and I mean, you go to the shops and you're looking at all these kind of things and you're just never sure, but to get it from the horse's mouth. So I'll be jumping on board. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who commented in the comment section. I don't know why I can't see any comments tonight, but it's always some form of technology glitch when we do Roo and Hammer. But yeah, thank you very much to everyone. Everyone stay safe and up the Waz. See you all next week.
Yeah, up the Waz.